It's like a shark, NATO, except with poop.
This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Trust me, I'm like a smart person. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius. I had the best words. Tolerated. I know words. Mike Pounds. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation. But there's no better word than stupid. Anonymous, really anonymous. I'm very highly educated. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. I had the best words. God bless the United States.
Out the nation, Waldorf Nation, everybody, welcome to the show. It's Monday. You guys know it's Thanksgiving week, so we're gonna have a different schedule, of course. We're gonna be off on Thursday, Friday, possibly Monday. Not sure about Monday yet, but definitely Thursday and Friday. So nonetheless, we still have half a week to get through, and we got a lot of stories. We got a great Monday show today. And look, fun updates as usual. The stories are full of insanity and also doom and gloom. Normal. So we're going to talk about, of course, Sidney Powell, the lawyer that was a Trump lawyer, but now is like a coffee girl, barely knew her. Well, no, she wasn't part of the campaign. What are you talking about? No, she's off doing her own thing. Okay, I got the big story on that coming up. So we're going to talk about that. That's going to be fun and interesting. And then we have her going off on her own and what are her plans for the future? Should be a lot of fun. Going to talk about that. Then we have teachers that are celebrating the end of Betsy DeVos, the Betsy DeVos era. So I want to share a little bit of that. We've got a Fox News host going crazy over new COVID guidelines on Thanksgiving. Insanity, of course, because it's Fox News, like you know. And then Chuck Todd. What's the newest problem with Chuck Todd? I'm going to talk about that. Interesting. All right, so that said, that's what we've got on the show today. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Please, of course, follow us on Twitch as well. Hello, Twitch fam. Trashy Place, good to see you here. And of course, S. Bloom, Kathy, everyone, good to see you. All right, as well as my YouTube family as well. Love you all. All right, that said, let's dive into it. Let's do it. Like don't worry, they still have enough clowns to fit a car, so no worries on that. All right. It appears that Sidney Powell, the lawyer that's been peddling insane conspiracy theories, has been repudiated by Donald Trump's legal team. Now, this is according to the New York Times. President Trump's campaign on Sunday disavowed Powell, one of his lawyers who had pushed these false claims of voter fraud since she, after she made wild accusations that Republican officials were involved in a payoff scheme to manipulate voting machine. This entire conspiracy theory is full of many, many moving parts. First, there's like Hugo Chavez. Somehow the dead Hugo Chavez was involved. And then you also had 2 Republican congressmen. It's completely, there's just a lot of insanity. So now I want to go to the statement here that the Trump campaign released on Sunday here. So let's take a look at that first. All right. So this is one of Trump's lawyers, Jenna Ellis, saying Sidney Powell is practicing law on her own. She is not a member of the Trump legal team. She is also not a lawyer for the president in his personal capacity. Oh, that is very interesting. Especially considering how Powell was described as a member of Trump's elite strike force on his legal team. Okay. Elite strike force, right? Remember, she released the Kraken, right? She was supposed to be the Kraken. Well, what happened? What happened? All right. So now she had also appeared with Trump's other lawyers, including Rudy Giuliani. You can see from the sidebar. That's where she was from. All right. You could see it. And that was from the press conference that she was a part of on Thursday. You know, for somebody who doesn't seem to be involved or isn't officially involved in the Trump campaign's legal defense or any of that stuff, she sure seems to hang out with them a lot and get featured a lot and speaks with them a lot. Huh. Weird. So now, this press conference, I'm pretty sure you've all seen it by now. She talked about how there's a conspiracy theory where Hugo Chavez, the dead president of Venezuela, he died back in 2013, worked to rig the elections in the United States by using voting machines, Dominion voting machines. And so somehow in 2013, he's like, let's rig the 2020 elections, but not the 2016 elections. Let's not rig those. Perfectly legitimate. But 2020, that's the one we're going to rig. What? It gets better. It gets better. Appearing on Newsmax on Saturday night, Ms. Powell further pushed the conspiracy theory, saying that 2 top Republicans in Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, they were allegedly taking payoffs, according to this lunatic. What? Oh, payoffs from what? The Democratic Party? From Hugo Chavez? Or Hugo Chavez's desiccated corpse? I don't know. Nobody knows because it makes no sense because she's crazy. She's crazy. So speaking of crazy, she might be a little too crazy even for Trump. Mr. Trump, according to the Times, has been agitated about Mr. Giuliani and Ms. Powell for a few days. Oh, no kidding. Maybe it had something to do with, you know, Giuliani half melting on stage. So there's that. That's a disaster. But then you also had Powell just spouting off insane conspiracy theories. Look, my guess is that Giuliani was probably considered by Trump to be the worst part of that. Here's what apparently he said. He complained about how Ms. Powell sounded at the Thursday news conference and how, of course, the Giuliani thing, black rivulets of liquid had dripped down Mr. Giuliani's face, and about how long the appearance had stretched on. So he got bored. First, he was mad because Giuliani was melting, and then she was taking too long, and he just got bored. Like, you know how the president literally has like a 4-second long, like, attention span. The guy can't pay attention. And again, we know that because he refused to read briefings that were like half a page. He's not even a half-pager kind of guy. He's like a tweet length kind of guy. Oh my God. So, all right. The whole thing, like I said, was an embarrassing spectacle. Their claims, of course, were not received very well by other Republicans. Chris Christie called it a national embarrassment. And even, again, Rudy Giuliani was like, yeah, nope, that went very, very poorly. On Saturday and Sunday, several of the president's advisors urged Mr. Trump to part ways with Ms. Powell. One of those people said that even Mr. Giuliani had recognized that she had gone too far. We have found the line, my friends, of too far. But here's the thing. Donald Trump still believes in her. Of course he does. In the last couple of weeks, he's been tweeting about how Dominion voting system has been caught switching votes. Well, we got the evidence. We got to do any day now. We're gonna expose the Democrat Party, and they're rigging the votes. Okay, but there is no evidence. And so, look, I think the real reason that he was able to get convinced to let her go is because I think she was just too honest. You guys remember this? This was Sidney Powell on Fox News talking about what they really want to do.
The entire election, frankly, in all the swing states should be overturned, and the legislatures should make sure that the electors are selected for Trump.
And that's it. That's really all that she wanted to do. And all that he really wanted to do. And so everyone knows that this is bullshit. Trump's lawyers know it's bullshit. That's why they haven't said anything in court. Donald Trump vacillates between knowing that it's bullshit and thinking, ooh, I've got a chance. There's a chance. And of course, his followers do the same thing. Okay. And look, the thing about not having evidence when you go to court is that you have to provide evidence. You can't just lie. Conspiracy theories do not fly in court. And by the way, they just got tossed out of Pennsylvania court with prejudice. Now, the judge called the case a, quote, Frankenstein's monster that has been, quote, haphazardly stitched together to avoid precedent. So there's your case in Pennsylvania. Frankenstein's monster of nonsensical arguments and conspiracy theories. Yeah. So much for the elite legal team. Yeah. Even Tucker Carlson, by the way, distanced himself. I don't know if you've seen this already, but here's what he said about Sidney Powell.
So that's a long way of saying we took Sidney Powell seriously. We had no intention of fighting with her. We've always respected her work. We simply wanted to see the details. How could you not want to see them? So we invited Sidney Powell on the show. We would have given her the whole hour. We would have given her the entire week, actually, and listened quietly the whole time at rapt attention. That's a big story. But she never sent us any evidence, despite a lot of requests, polite requests, not a page. When we kept pressing, she got angry and told us to stop contacting her. When we checked with others around the Trump campaign, people in positions of authority, they told us Powell has never given them any evidence either, nor did she provide any today at the press conference. Powell did say that electronic voting is dangerous, and she's right. We're with her there. But she never demonstrated that a single actual vote was moved illegitimately by software from one candidate to another. Not one.
Not one. Not one, because they have no evidence of that. If they have an evidence, they would have presented it already. And that's the thing. Why don't people get that? They have they had a chance to do so. They had ample opportunity. They filed over about 34 lawsuits, roughly, probably more. None of them had any sort of evidence whatsoever. So where's the beef? Oh, right. You don't have any. You don't have it. It's in Donald Trump's lunch. He ate it. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so again, she's an absolute clown. And look, are there issues with voting machines? Yep. I agree with Tucker Carlson on that, because a lot of us on the left, we do agree that voting machines are not the most secure way to conduct an election. We believe that you should use hand-counted paper ballots. And so to make sure that there's enough oversight when you're counting the ballots. That said, there's no evidence of fraud. And so what do you have? Nothing. You have no case. You have no case. And so she's a clown. Rudy Giuliani's a clown. They're all clowns. But she's the one that's getting the... By the way, like, she got thrown under the bus super hard. which is hilarious. And that's why the internet's laughing at her right now. Let me give you some tweets here. Stephen Dennis says, I guess we'll see what happens when the Kraken has been voted off the island. Matt Glassman says, imagine being axed for craziness from a legal team that includes Rudy Giuliani. That's devastating. Jamie Dupree said, Sidney Powell stood there with Giuliani and Ellis at the RNC last week and floated all kinds of stuff. But now, suddenly, she's not on the Trump team. That's weird. I mean, of course, she was never part of the team. Apparently, she was a coffee girl. Barely knew her. I mean, you know, and they just happened to feature her at some of their briefings, their press conferences. Well, we do with every rando. No, they know what they're doing. No, she was your trash. And now you can't get that stink off. All right? But they are trying. In fact, Yashar Ali said just 3 days ago, the official GOP Twitter account was tweeting out videos of Sidney Powell at the press conference, praising her. Now they're saying she's not involved in the campaign and doesn't represent the president. That is absolutely hilarious. One more here. This is from Pope Hat. He just said, Sidney Powell will no longer have a vote on Trump's legal strategy, making her the only American Trump has successfully disenfranchised in the course of 34 lawsuits. That's awesome. All right. We've got more. More on Sidney Powell, actually. She ain't done yet. Nope. Following Sidney Powell's exile from the island of misfit lawyers, she is now vowing to continue her assorted voter fraud lawsuits on her own. In a statement released on Monday, Powell said that while she was no longer affiliated with the president's legal team, meaning at once she had been, or hey, maybe she is kind of making it up. Maybe she literally thought because she was standing next to Giuliani that she was part of the legal team. I mean, she's making up weird conspiracies. Why not make up other things? Why not make up everything? Why not? But she said that even though she's no longer affiliated with the team, she would continue trying to expose the alleged massive international communist conspiracy to install Joe Biden at the White House. This is bonkers. Quote, my intent has always been to expose the fraud and let the chips fall where they may, whether it be on Republicans or Democrats, she claimed, which, of course, obviously, she's going to go after Democrats. And any Republican who does not fall in line with the whole voter fraud is somehow happening, even though I can't prove it at all. Quote, the evidence I'm compiling is overwhelming that this software tool was used to shift millions of votes from President Trump and other Republican candidates to Biden and other Democrat candidates. We are proceeding to prepare our lawsuit and file the planet this week. It will be epic. It will be. It will be epic. Oh, you were right about that. The meltdown is going to be absolutely epic when you get your ass tossed out of court. This is going to be great. This is going to be fantastic. She says more. She says, we will not allow this great republic to be stolen by communists from without and within, and our votes altered and manipulated by foreign actors in Hong Kong, Iran, Venezuela, and Serbia? Wait, Serbia? What? Serbia? The fuck? Okay, look, maybe she was just like looking at a globe, and she's like, okay, what other country can I put in here? Serbia. Here we go. We'll just go with that one. I mean, that's crazy. But what's crazier is thinking that Biden is part of a communist plot. Why don't you ask some actual communists what they think about Joe Biden? Or, hell, ask a socialist, ask a social democrat what they think about Joe Biden. You might be surprised. Or not. He's Republican-like, basically. He's a very conservative Democrat. Look, only shit libs and insane conservatives think he's got any sort of real lefty inclinations when it comes to at least economics. He does not. He's, yes, socially liberal on a lot of different issues, but he's conservative on a lot of economic issues. And of course, conservative on foreign policy. We haven't really had any sort of lefty foreign policy, at least in my lifetime. It's been mainly propping up imperialism, endless war, that kind of stuff. And so it's absurd. But we know this woman's a clown. But she has been successful, though, in getting Republicans to believe in her nonsense because they want to believe. They do. They don't like the fact that the election did not go their way. I mean, even Donald Trump believes her claims. But what's funny is because she's the reason that she was fired is because she was embarrassing him. She keeps losing. And so, but overall, again, they all believe this stuff. Now, the fact that she has no evidence and can't win a case has become a national embarrassment is why she's been, a lot of other Trump associates, Trump allies have been like, you got to dump this. You got to dump her. Like, she's toxic. The Kraken became a clownfish, basically. And she was even mocked by the Trump campaign. One person, who was an unnamed Trump staffer, said this: she was too crazy, even for the president. No, she was too honest about her insane beliefs, which reflect a lot of Republican voters, by the way. Look, on Friday, I was reading an article where there were a lot of Republicans that still do not believe that this was a legitimate election. I mean, this is a massive number of Republicans. And so they talked to some of these people, and they believe that Biden did not win legitimately, that Biden did not win at all, that it was actually Trump won by a massive amount of votes. And some were even saying, hey, man, look, if the president tells me that I need to pick up a gun because, you know, in order to defend him, I would. That's crazy. That's insanity. And so very, very scary situation here. Deepak Gupta, by the way, who's an attorney, here's what he tweeted about. He said, it's okay to laugh at this hilarious clown car, and yet appreciate that what's going on here is deadly serious. These tactics will go nowhere, but still infect our democracy with doubt. And let me tell you, a democracy cannot survive if people do not trust the process. This is why this whole thing is dangerous. There's no evidence of voter fraud. There's no evidence of foreign interference. But because Donald Trump refuses to acknowledge his loss and is peddling conspiracy theories, and his legal team is peddling conspiracy theories, you've got a legion of people who are, in some ways, like, some of these people are college educated. So it's not like we're dealing with idiots. But they're otherwise smart people that believe in nonsense, thinking that there's some sort of weird communist takeover of our country when we've never been more conservative. So and again, it's not just because of Donald Trump. It's because of conservative news sites. You got politicians that are either spouting this nonsense or they're too scared to say anything because they don't want to hurt their own elections. And this is a problem that's not going to end once these election results are certified, by the way. They're going to continue to go on. These people will continue to believe that all of our elections where they don't win are illegitimate, and that there's massive voter fraud involving Serbia, of all places. Again, this is something that we're going to have to continue to deal with. It's not just Trump. It's misinformation. It's disinformation. It's mistrust in facts and media. And this is something that we've got to, figure out how to get over so that we can actually have a functional society where people do believe in actual facts. And so it's really scary to know that there are people right now who have so much power in this country are reflecting insane conspiracies. And that has gotten into our mainstream discourse. It's not a good time. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with Betsy DeVos. I'm going to thank some patrons, read any super chats that I might have, all that stuff. And then we'll go on. We got more stories. So stay right here around the nation.
Amazing. I will eat your ass.
Mike Pounds.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Around the Nation right here, Waldorf Nation. Jeff with here. All right. Let me first go and thank some patrons here. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. That's how you can support the show. I want to thank Leslie Deans for signing up and Vicky D. So thank you for being patrons. Thank you for supporting independent progressive media. Channel memberships as well. I want to thank Victoria Patterson and Stephen G. So thank you. Kathy Harvey over here on Twitch asks if I'm going to do another gaming chat one of these days. Soon. I've just been super busy. Yes, one of these days I do plan to do some more gaming on this video on this channel. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. Super chats here. Let me go back to this. I got like a million windows open here. So if you'll just hold on for a second. LL says she got thrown on the bus and the bus backed up and ran over her again. Good stuff. Play D&D. I do not actually know how to play D&D. Never played it before. So I know, blasphemy, right? By the way, before I get back into it, I just want to show something that was super cool over this weekend. So let me show you this. Somebody drew a picture of me as the acid dragon for the whole dragon squad, and I just want to show this because it's actually pretty awesome. So let me go here to that. Look at that acid dragon. Holy crap. That is super cool. So it's even got the glasses. So Dragon Squad, Acid Dragon. Awesome. That was drawn by Mini Morpho, by the way. So that's super awesome. Thank you for that. I want to make that into a t-shirt. That all right. Anyway. Let's get to the show. I know I've been fucking around too much. All right. Teachers are celebrating the defeat of Donald Trump for many reasons. One of them, of course, being Betsy DeVos. So now, following the call for Biden, the national teachers unions, their city and state affiliates, school superintendents, principals, educators, and parents were thrilled and had decided to go to social media to throw DeVos a early retirement party. I love it. In fact, the Chicago Teachers Union just said 2 words on Twitter, "Bye, Betsy." And another teacher that was interviewed here, Mandy Manning, the 2018 Teacher of the Year, said this, quote, "We were so happy. We are so excited to see return to support for public schools because while we have a lot of work to do in order to be able to serve each and every student, public schools are where that's actually going to happen. I am so hopeful, and it's such a good feeling after not having that for so long." Yeah, look, when Betsy DeVos took over, for one, her entire purpose was to destroy public schools. And she had said that before. I mean, not in such words, but she said that she wanted to do something about bringing back like the kingdom of God or something into our schools. It's just insanity, right? That would violate the First Amendment since schools are federally funded. But anyway, and look, if you're going to have religion in school, you can't just discriminate. You have to have all of them or none of them. And I'm pretty sure conservatives would flip out if they started teaching like Islam in schools. I'm just saying. All right, anyway. So now, as I said before, Betsy DeVos has done nothing but destroy education. That was the whole point. Her most notable achievements included rolling back and rewriting guidance to protect the rights of transgender students, for example, and sexual assault survivors. So she's been weakening Title IX. She also revoked higher education regulations aimed at curbing bad actors in for-profit colleges. I know I had been to a for-profit college and owed quite a bit of money for some time. Not only that, but she wouldn't discharge student debt accrued for people who went to these for-profit colleges, who found their degrees to be essentially worthless and their education to have been essentially worthless. They were defrauded, and she decided, no, I'm not going to let you get out of paying your student loans because we don't care. You still owe us. Insane. As well as, of course, she went after getting rid of school discipline guidance aimed at stopping the school-to-prison pipeline. And so, look, I mean, that's been a big problem for communities of color. And, hey, it's a great boon for the prison industry. Not so good for communities of color. And so, the one thing that I can say was a positive is that she was too incompetent to be able to actually achieve her big goals, destroying education and making sure that we replace public schools with privately funded, privately ran charter schools that are publicly funded. And so now she's been pushing this. She profited personally from the creation of charter schools in the state of Michigan. And so she had been trying to push this as official policy. But again, since she has no idea how any of this works, how the Department of Education works, her complete and utter incompetence has made it so that she wasn't able to actually get this stuff done. That's a good thing, at least. But nonetheless, she did do a lot of damage. All she could do was get rid of regulation that hopefully a Biden administration would restore. And of course, that depends, of course, on who would replace DeVos as Secretary of Education. Hopefully, they will actually put in an actual teacher this time. I would say somebody who has to teach low-income students in the inner city, for example. That's somebody who knows the conditions on the ground for the most vulnerable students and would actually know how to actually be able to serve those students and make these schools better, because we have a big problem with education in this country. We have a big problem. Sometimes we can throw money at the issue and not really get anything done. Now, money is important, but you also have to know how to manage these schools, and you have to know how to manage education and actually create a curriculum that works for students. And it's not always a one-size-fits-all kind of thing, but I'm going on a little bit of a tangent here. But basically, what we want to see is education that is tailored better for the workforce that we have today. Right now, our education is a little bit too tailored towards the, jobs of the past. And we really need to boost critical thinking skills, things like that. But again, tangent, right? But some of the stuff that we want to do, at least when it comes to funding, well, that has to come down to Congress. And so, and look, on higher education, what we need to do is student loan cancellation for a large majority of Americans. I would say cancel all student loan debt, but obviously there's going to be a lot of pushback on that. That's still my position, but that's not the position the Biden administration is going to go. It doesn't matter who, well, it does, okay, but understand that of all the picks that Biden is going to likely have, none of them are going to be in favor of that kind of policy. What we've seen from Biden actually floated is canceling about $10,000 of student loans. And even that's going to be more, more than Republicans are interested in actually pushing or handling at all. So they're not going to do that. They're not interested in that. Mitch McConnell's not going to let anything get through when it comes to that. That's why it's really important to win some of those contests in Georgia for control of the Senate. So we got to win those. All right. That said, we can talk about that later. We could talk about Biden not being progressive enough. That's like a different conversation. But for now, I just want to enjoy Betsy DeVos losing her job, because she's not going to be there much longer. And so I put together just, a couple of videos of some of her greatest hits from her disastrous interviews. Not disastrous interviews, I should say, but disastrous Senate confirmation hearing. So let's take a look at that.
Do you think that guns have any place in or around schools?
I think that's best left to locales and states to decide. If the underlying question is,
You can't say definitively today that guns shouldn't be in schools?
well, I will refer back to Senator Enzi and the school that he was talking about in Wapiti, Wyoming. I think probably there, I would imagine that there's probably a gun in the school to protect from potential grizzlies.
Would you be so kind as to tell us how much money your family has contributed to the Republican Party over the years?
Senator, first of all, thank you for that question. I'm, again, was pleased to meet you in your office last week. I wish I could give you that number. I don't know.
I have heard the number was $200 million. Does that sound in the ballpark?
Collectively, between
over
my
the years,
entire
yes.
family, that's possible.
Okay. My question is, and I don't mean to be rude, but do you think if you were not a multi-billionaire, if your family has not made hundreds of millions of dollars of contributions to the Republican Party, that you would be sitting here today?
Senator, as a matter of fact, I do think that there would be that possibility.
No, there's no possibility. She bought that seat. Again, she gave hundreds of millions of dollars to the Republican Party. She actually literally bought that seat because she has absolutely no qualifications to be education secretary. Again, she can't answer simple questions. Look, for example, and I'd love to show this video. This is from 60 Minutes. And she's had just a string of disastrous interviews in 60 Minutes. Unfortunately, every time I've played one of them, I get hit with copyright. So I don't want to do that. So let me talk about the time where she talked about sexual assault on campus. Leslie Stahl had asked DeVos whether she believes there are as many false accusations as there are actual rapes and assaults on college campuses. Here's what she said, quote, "Well, one sexual assault is too many, and one falsely accused individual is one too many." Okay, well, I can agree with both of those. All right. Now, when Stahl asked her, but are they the same? She said, I don't know. I don't know. Well, why don't you know? Like, you had the information. You know that also, or at least you should know, that rape it doesn't get reported as often because of certain other factors, right? And so that is an issue with rape on college campus. And it does happen. And I think it does happen more so than people that are falsely accused of it. That said, do both happen? Sure. But one is a much larger, more pressing issue than the other, in my opinion. In another gaffe, she also admitted that she purposely hadn't visited any low-performing public schools in Michigan, where her charter schools, the ones that she backs, are largely failing. They're not doing very well. In fact, there's a federal program, right, created by the Department of Education in order to fund these charter schools, right? So now 257 charter schools in Michigan, just Michigan alone, have received money from a federal program to open charter schools around the state. 77 of them took the money and ran. They never opened, but they got the federal money anyway. One of them got a total of $7.7 million, never opened. And look, we can't even look at the performance of these schools either. So unmitigated disaster, because the public money that was pumped into these largely for-profit operated charter schools it could have went to actually improving public schools, improving the system, allowing children to have access to better education. I mean, there are schools right now where the school itself, the building itself, is falling apart. You also have people not getting access to books, not having enough books to be able to take home, having to share with other students. It's an absolute disaster. And yet $7.7 million can go to a school that never even opened because it's a charter school, because of lobbying. And not only that, but Betsy DeVos has personally, gotten a benefit from that public money going into charter schools. And so she makes money from this. That's why she has 10 yachts. Okay. So she's incredibly wealthy. Again, this money gets pissed away by these companies who pocket the cash. She is an absolute joke. She's a failure. She's a person who bought her seat. And as a Michigan native, I am super glad to see her get kicked the fuck out. Maybe she'll go back to her yachts and finally get the hell out of politics. A man can dream. All right. Moving on. Gonna check. MSNBC host Chuck Todd continues to prove how awful he is. This time, the host of Meet the Press let a Republican congressman, a man by the name of Kevin Cramer, go on some unsubstantiated rants, tell a lot of lies, into the MSNBC audience. Take a look.
4 years listening to news shows and liberals trying to discredit the Trump administration to the point of spying on him by the last administration. $40 million spent on a independent counsel that started with no evidence and ended proving that there was no evidence. And then, of course, this crazy impeachment. So
all right. So all of that was bullshit. That was 21 seconds of pure unadulterated bullshit. All right. And what was Chuck Todd's response? Basically nothing. He didn't say, no, that's not true. He didn't say anything about that. He didn't push back. He didn't call it out. He just let Kevin Cramer lie when he was on a show. So no, look, you could say, well, yeah, but before you segment, he did call the president's attempt, an assault on our democracy. Yeah, that's great. But, and it's true. But at the same time, he never calls out Republicans when he has guests. So why don't you do that? Why don't you challenge Republicans when you actually are talking to Republicans? And I know some people are like, but that's rude. You can't just sit there and interrupt him. When he says something untrue, you absolutely should. And be like, no, that's false. That's false. Tell the truth. Again, why is this difficult? Why are people so concerned with civility? And this is my problem with Chuck Todd. He's too nice to Republicans who lie. And among the lies, let me point them out. The Obama administration spied on Donald Trump. That's not true. It's just not true. It's conspiracy theory. The Mueller investigation, quote, started with no evidence and ended proving that there was no evidence. There's actually plenty of evidence that led to credible convictions in court. But, so, yeah, they didn't get the sitting president, right? And that just means that there's no evidence of anything, any kind of wrongdoing? No. And then, of course, also they mentioned that the impeachment of the president was just crazy. No, the impeachment charges, impeachment was too narrow. I'd been saying this all along, right? Plus, you had Republicans in the court that would never have voted to convict anyway. Why? Because they're afraid of him and his base. And so, and look, you've got people like Kevin Cramer that are obviously never going to see any sort of evidence against Donald Trump and act on it. And so, come on. And by the way, this is the same base that they're afraid of. The same base that believes that Biden didn't actually win the election. He's got more votes. He's got more electoral votes. If you have evidence, please present that. If you have evidence. Oh, you don't. Well, that's why 34 lawsuits were tossed out of court. Pennsylvania tossed a suit with prejudice. I mean, come on. Come on. Understand that this is why pushback is so important. This is why I get annoyed at people like Chuck Todd. People like Chuck Todd allow these conspiracy theories to be legitimized because they don't push back hard enough. Now, look, it's not like you can't not let these people on the show. You can, absolutely. And then the whole purpose of bringing them on the show is so that you could fucking dismantle them. That's the whole point. You have to, I mean, that's what you have to do. Because if you don't, you are hurting your audience by not calling it out. But again, Chuck Todd comes from the school of Democrats say this, Republicans say that. And unfortunately, a lot of our media figures are from that school. And they say, well, let's not be rude to our Republican friends. We can't be rude because then they're not going to tune in. They're not going to watch us. So we can't, we gotta make sure to let the Republicans tune in. No, a lot of these Republicans are gone, right? You get people over on One America News at this point. People are leaving Fox News because they're not like crazy enough. Like they're not conspiratorial enough. So they go to One America News. One America News is reporting that Trump got 410 electoral votes. That is a complete like non-reality. That's not real. That didn't actually happen. I mean, they live in a completely alternative reality, and you want to sit there and you want to appeal to them and say, well, I can't call out lies because it's too rude. It's too rude for my audience. I can't do it. No, I can't do it. Come on, dude. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Republicans are not our friends. I know it's super controversial, right? Especially if you know, in the liberal blue check circle on Twitter. Or any establishment cocktail party. Oh my God, what are you talking about? Republicans? You're saying Republicans aren't our friends? Are you saying Republicans are lying? Yes, they are. Yes, I am. I am saying that they're fucking liars. They lie all the time and they bullshit all the time. And look, you got a lot of people in the Republican Party that they would be fine with killing a lot of people that I actually care about. Okay, my LGBTQ plus friends, right? My trans friends. My older immunocompromised parents by spreading around COVID-19 and this nonsense that like, oh, it's not actually, you know, it's not actually deadly at all. What are you talking about? No, it is deadly. It is, especially for somebody who has, you know, a pre-existing condition. 256,000 Americans have died from COVID-19 already. Yes, it is dangerous. Yes, it is deadly. But no, and Republicans are like, no, it's not. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Fox News tells me it's fine. It's nothing more than the flu. No, Republicans definitely not our friends. The Republican Party right now is not a rational party. Okay, they are a pro-Trump death cult. They're reactionary, and that's not hyperbolic. It is based on their very real actions that they are doing right now. And so unless, you know, they decide to throw off all this conspiracy nonsense, they should be laughed off of TV. And look, no matter who it is, no matter what side, Democrats or Republicans, if they go on TV and they say something that's absolutely false, they should be called out for it. And look, Kramer also went on to claim that Trump's lawsuits, by the way, included the most recent one that a judge tossed out with prejudice. He thinks that those are appropriate. No, they're a waste of time and money. Again, if you're going to make these claims, like, you know, we think that there's voter fraud. All right, well, sure, you can make a claim, but for God's sakes, evidence. Bring the evidence. I want to see the evidence. Where is it? Where is the evidence? And they never have it. They don't have it. All they have are conspiracies. It doesn't work in court. And so you're wasting time. You're just wasting all of our time. You're not going to overturn the election. And none of it will. You know, none of those lawsuits will. But what they do is they muddy the waters. They give Trump voters, and I see this all the time. I'm seeing in the comments section right now in this very live stream. Trump voters have a false impression that Donald Trump has a chance in court. Oh, what are you going to do when the court overturns this and declares Donald Trump the winner? What are you going to do then, huh? He doesn't have a chance in court. He doesn't. That's the thing. He lost. He lost. And when the cases fizzle out, by the way, his followers, you know what they're going to say. I already know what you guys are going to say, Trump MAGA guys. Rigged. Rigged. The election was rigged. That's it. It's deep state. Donald Trump was robbed. Liberal bias. What are you going to do? But you had a chance to prove your case with the evidence, and you don't have it. You just don't have it. And so I don't think that anybody is prepared for the kind of meltdown we're going to have in January. I could see possibilities of some people being violent. I hope there is not. I hope there is not. But if there is, and you can see that it would be the fault of Trump, for one, for egging this on, OAN, for nonstop conspiracy theories, Fox News as well, Kevin Kramer, for spouting these conspiracies as well, and other congressmen and politicians for claiming that Trump won without evidence, as well as people who are too weak and cowardly to push back. People like Chuck Todd. And that's, by the way, why people are calling for him to be fired. Will it happen? Probably not. No, Chuck Todd is well liked in establishment circles, probably because of all the reasons that I criticized him, because he is too nice to Republicans, because they all belong to the same cocktail circuit. You only have to look at the Kamala Harris fist bump in order to see that. So. All right. One more here. We've got more Fox shenanigans. A Fox News host believes that that rules limiting get-togethers for Thanksgiving are not a way to fight COVID, but just nothing more than an evil Marxist plot. Take a look.
They also turned their neighbors in China and in the Soviet Union. This is so un-American. And right now, just keeping your family Thanksgiving tradition seems like an act of civil disobedience. I say, the home is sacred. What we do inside of our homes is our business, and I want the government out of it. And believe me, big government, Marxism, this is the one space they've been trying to penetrate for a long time, which are American families. I can tell you this, Brian, Ainsley, and Steve, Americans care more about their grandmothers and their parents more than the government. They know how to take the right precautions to care for grandma, whether it was, I know people who are self-quarantining ahead of Thanksgiving holidays, they're driving instead of flying. People know how to do this, and they don't need the government or nosy neighbors turning them in.
Oh, there's so much. There's so much to say. Oh, wow. Before that started, by the way, and I couldn't find the extended clip, he said that we're violating all kinds of not just Thanksgiving rules, but apparently we're environmental terrorists, too, for having too many children. There are very, very few leftists that are saying that that's the problem. Okay? Let's just get that out of the way. That is bullshit. That is some Methuselah crazy crap. Okay? No, it's not that there's too many people. It's we have an unequitable distribution of resources. And we also have an issue with efficiency. And so we also have an issue with not having the political will to actually being able to, I don't know, set up alternative energies, for example, solar, wind farms, etc. In fact, the president of the United States right now has this weird thing about windmills, and he thinks they cause cancer, and that they're too loud, and that I don't know. It's insanity, right? So I don't even know where she's getting all this stuff. It's just garbage. It's total garbage. And then she goes on to talk about people turning in their neighbors in China and Soviet Union. Well, to be fair, China is doing a lot better than we are on coronavirus. Not that I'm saying that she's right about all that stuff, but it's, again, there's so much insanity here. I don't, Marxism. Does she even understand what Marxism is? And how does it apply to rules during a pandemic that right now is basically out of control? So I kind of want to push back on what she said about, well, Americans know what they're doing better than the government. On this? I don't know. 12 million Americans have COVID-19, and over 256,000 people have died as a result of it. And we still have people flying. We still have people, gathering in groups that are a little large. And so you still have record rates of transmission right now. Every couple of days, we have a 9/11 worth of people dying. I mean, come on. For a country that has 4% of the entire population to have the most coronavirus cases, and considering we're an advanced country, that's pathetic. That is shameful. It's a spectacular failure. And look, it's not just a failure. I'm not blaming like the American people in general. I'm blaming a lot of different factors here, because a lot of different factors are disastrous. And so I like that. As one of the people in the chat says, the Fox and Friends sofa is in quarantine. There you go. But again, the evidence doesn't back up what she's saying. And evidence is important. And so we're not handling this pandemic well. We're actually doing really bad. And the reasons are, part of it, yes, people don't want to wear masks. I don't want to wear a mask. I do it anyway. Doesn't mean I want to. And of course, they'll give you sorts of bullshit reasons like, oh, it's uncomfortable to wear a mask. I can't breathe in it. Okay, we'll try breathing with a tube down your throat. Well, okay, look, to be fair, that's what it's designed for, to breathe for you because you can't breathe for yourself. I imagine that would get very uncomfortable, all right? And that's what could happen to you, and if it doesn't happen to you, it could happen to somebody that you care about, or somebody your friend cares about, or somebody who happens to be a random person that might have ran into you while you're, running around without your mask. That's the issue here. That's the problem, all right? People are not wearing masks or social distancing. And that's one big problem we have in America. The other issue is we're not getting any support to stay home. When's the last time the government passed a stimulus? Months and months ago. So, I mean, we haven't had any sort of help to make sure that we don't have to go out and gather and, all that stuff. And look, while at the same time that they're not passing stimulus, our politicians are literally going home for the holidays. They don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. The other issue, of course, is bullshit disinformation from Fox News and other, conservative outlets, conspiracy theories. And look, I don't care about her particularly. She's a moron, like whatever. But what I care about is the message, that issuing tough guidance, because obviously we need a little bit of tough guidance because the suggestions, the real nice suggestions were not, enough because people decided not to follow those. That is somehow the same as Marxism. Again, she doesn't know what Marxism means. It's a buzzword. Look, what the governors are doing is specifically in line with what they're legally able to do in a pandemic, in an emergency situation. This is about public health. It's not about Thanksgiving, you hack. I mean, she's just a crazy person. And look, understand, like most Americans, I'm tired of coronavirus. I'm tired of having to stay home. I'm tired of, not being able to see my family members. We all are. Understand, we all are. But at the same time, like, we know that what we have to do to keep our family safe. Okay, I miss out on my family. I miss out on these holiday and family gatherings, but I would miss them a hell of a lot more if something that I did, if I spread coronavirus and got my mom killed or something like that. It would be horrible. And so, yes, I blame a lot of different factors. Again, people not masking up. And also the people that are turning this entire thing, this effort to fight a pandemic, into a fucking culture war. It's a fucking culture war. And it shouldn't be. This is look, This is about public health. But no. My freedom's being taken away. All I want to do is sit inside of a fucking Applebee's and then go and walk around the grocery store without a mask. Well, if you do that, you're part of the problem. You had to go and grab your gun and march with a bunch of other people in front of the State House. And now, as a result of all this stuff, you are shattering records in probably the worst way. So people like Campus Duffy, right? They're the ones that are promoting that. And she won't get in trouble, but she'll add to the problems, as she has. And now, again, she's not going to, she's going to still continue to meet with her family, as are millions of Americans. And guess what? We're going to have an even worse situation 2 weeks from now, once that's over. So, and all because she gets paid to not give a damn about her fellow Americans. Horrible. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Let's see. One super chat here from James Williams says, remember when you say Democrat, you mean Republican? Yeah. And when you say Republican, you mean fascist. Well, I kind of figured you'd all know. Just saying. All right. Thank you for that super chat, by the way. It's super, super kind. That is how you can support the channel. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the stream. Thank you to all those people, of course, in our Twitch chat as well. And on YouTube with the members and all that. All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. See you later. Stay safe.
I have not loved this conversation.
Tolerate.
Wait, you're getting nervous, man.
Please clap.
Tighten up my meat. I like my meat tight.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.